Welcome back to the Godot Fling Ball development sessions. We're gonna pick up where we left off yesterday, where we were trying to get multiple meshes to work with this ball. I commented out some code, which actually does do. I'm not really sure what this does yet. It replaces the mesh, which is what we want, but it doesn't. I don't know if the animation player was broken or if there was some other reason that it wasn't working. But let's just see what happens. So we have the ball, which is too small. I forget if it had proper animations when we ran into spikes. On spikes, gotta generate at some point. There we go. It does. And let me see if it works if I run into spikes again, because I feel like I thought there was some sort of issue. Nope. Okay. It just does work. So something is wrong with the mesh that's making it too small. Let's see what that is. So this mesh instance must have a transform of 0.5 when it should be 1. That looks correct. What's our green one look like? Make it green and fix the transform to 1. So now we have a green one and an orange one. I guess we have to turn these off because they're going to replace this mesh instance anyways. See if that happens. Okay. It's still small. Why is it small? It should be the same exact size. Still small though. Why? Scale's 1. I just want to figure out why this ball is too small. It looks correct in the editor. I'm gonna print out the scale of the mesh, I guess. Because it seems to... Well, actually, I can just look at the scale of the mesh in hierarchy, main player. Here we have our mesh instance. The scale is 0.5. Don't understand how it's getting set to 0.5. Because the mesh instance that it should be copying has a scale of 1. So that is confusing. I could manually set it to 1 in the code. I don't know. It seems messy because it's like, why isn't it just working normally? But I'll set it manually to 1. Okay. So I don't know what about my mesh is causing that to happen. Let's run into some spikes here. Okay, and it sort of works. But our reset animation does not bring back the blue middle material, so let's fix that. Being disabled for the transparency on the blue material, so it should stick around, and it doesn't. Okay. See, is it because of idle? I think it plays this idle animation, which I don't like having an idle animation because, well, maybe eventually we do actually want some of these meshes to be animated. Maybe the color will shift or something on some of them. So let's get a key disabled transparency on this mesh here, or on this material. And I think that should do it. Only changing the transparency of the material, so there we go. And the whole thing does go away, and it does, I believe. You know, now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if the whole ball is growing or not. Let's see. It does. So apparently this is correct. I mean, it doesn't look wrong. It just isn't what I expect. It almost looks like there's a little extra circle in the middle or something. But that's fine. I'm just going to copy and paste these meshes again into this node. And I am going to edit surface material override. Green, just as an example to see if this actually works. Get that green color. Oh, where did it go? Ah, I need to key it on this. I want to just, I don't want to key on the animation. Just want to change the, I want to change the material override without keying it to an animation. I don't know how to do that. There we go. Okay, just had to tab out of the scene and tab back in. Let's see, albedo, green, copy that color. Now, on our animation, we can edit these values. So, if I go to the player, put this mesh instance in, and this animation player in, the ball should be green. There we go. Fantastic. I wonder if I can edit the trail too. That's something I try to do now, or is this something I wait on? I'm feeling like maybe I wait on it. Change this to default orange. Again, I don't actually like this skin. It's just an example for now. Now I need to make it so that you can buy and use these skins in the game. And I'm going to need some save data for that. Get rid of all these things that I'm not using. My editor is clogged. I don't think there's an easy way of just removing them. Okay. Besides clicking them every time. Yeah. It's annoying to me that the mesh is scaled down and I have to manually scale it up. Doesn't really make sense why it would work like that. But let's see. I actually want a function to change the mesh. I don't want it to just happen already. I guess what would happen is we would set something. Just change to current. That way you can set these two things before. What I imagine is from another script, it'll set current mesh and current animation player on the player itself, and then apply current nodes to it. Then I'll call this, and this will do the whole switch. So the interesting thing is that we can queue free these two things, but that's because they're there by default. If I wanted to queue them free again, I don't have these names anymore. I need a different way of doing this. Maybe I do need new variables. Like I would set because I have to queue them free. Oh, this is confusing. We're so close to getting this right, but I don't know how to queue free the current ones and then also add them, if that makes sense. I would have to queue them free and then reset the current mesh and current animation player. I don't know. Let's just see what happens if we remove them. All I'm expecting this to do is make the ball blank. It doesn't, though. Getting called? It is. So somehow the current mesh and current animation player persist when they are queued free. Or I'm just not understanding this correctly. Because we're doing mesh to add an animation player to add. So how do we, so we do have like a current mesh and an actual mesh, which is confusing. But maybe that's just how we have to do it. We need references to this mesh to add. Okay. I don't like doing it like this, but I don't know how else to do it. Actual. So the current is what we have selected, whereas the actual is what the player what the player ball actually has applied to it. So, yeah. I'll change this to actual mesh. Just add. That should just do the same thing as before. But now, if we queue free the actual, this should... Now it should just be blank. Not blank, though. What else is there? If it's not getting queued free, what is inside of the player? Collision shape, particles. Just be... Oh, I forgot to turn off the skins. These shouldn't be visible by default, because those are all just choices. Now it should be... There we go. Okay, so now... So we can apply the current to the actual. Okay, cool. So if what I do now is I say current mesh equals this one, the orange, and current current animation player equals the orange animation player, and then I apply the current nodes. How do we go about that? We just do this again. This is what we want. Should be green. Oh, it's green. Pretty sure the ones that I copied in were the orange. Oh, this is green. So I guess I colored that in green at some point. Sure what happened there? I don't want to key an animation. I think I needed to make this unique. Now, both of them are green. The confusing thing is, even if this material was set, the animation player affecting both, and also, this didn't get updated. I want to undo that because I don't know what exactly is going on. This needs to be hidden. Okay, so we're working on this mesh. Changing it to orange. But I don't want to key it. I want to stop keying it. I just want to change it to that. There we go. Now this animation player... I don't want it to be... Not sure how it keeps getting set to green. I need it to stay orange. This is honestly very confusing. But I think if I do this, it should work. That for that. This should stay. This. Okay, so the animation player is not sure how, but the animation players are not unique, I guess. Because if I change it here, it's totally like these animation players should be different. But it seems that if I change one, I change both. If I change it to green, then this also gets set to green. That I did not know. Is there a way to make it unique? That's confusing. There has to be something that I just am not understanding. Oh, this is confusing. Seems to be exactly what I'm running into. So on the animation player that you want to duplicate, go to libraries and click on dictionary to reveal the animation. Okay. Click on the arrow next to the animation library, scroll all the way down and click on save. Name your animation. Okay. I have to name the animation. Definitely something I wouldn't have been able to figure out on my own, probably. But I'm forgetting what I need to do. On the arrow next to the animation library, oh my gosh. Scroll all the way down and click on save. Actually save it as in another scene, delete the animation player, create a new animation player and add a new animation. Delete the other animation player, create a new animation player, add a blank animation to get an animation library, duplicate the library, drag it in. Okay. I'm kind of confused as to what I need to do. Just make an animation folder, I suppose. To be a player, I want it to be default orange. Okay, so right now they are the same animation library. So let's see if I can get unique. Then save it as default green. So this is default green, and this is default orange. Makes sense. Both of these mesh instances are orange right now. Or that's correct. They are actually both orange. So I guess when I changed, I gotta make this unique. When I changed this green one back to orange, it changed the. When I changed the one that was supposed to be orange back to orange, it changed the one that was supposed to be green to orange as well. So I'm just going to value. Save it. That one's still orange, good. And now, if I edit this, it should only affect... No. It affected both, which... I'm not sure how it affected both, because it should be two separate ones, right? If I just made them both unique. Unique. Now, if I set this back to orange, this one also gets set back to orange. Understanding this.
What we're gonna do right here is go back, way back.
There. Okay, so... I guess I'm going to delete this animation player. This needs to stay orange. Alt orange. Save that. File system. Delete that one. This is a very confusing process. I didn't think that changing the animation in one would change the other. So definitely good to know now. Layer. We just have to add a blank one. Now, animation library. Load. Green. Now if I change this, green. Look at that! Oh my god, that was like actually kind of painful, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, I would not have figured that out on my own. I did not know that the animation player worked like that. Let's change this color. So I guess I didn't copy the color the first time. Control C. Did I get it? Yes. Complicated software. So now I don't even remember what's supposed to happen. Let's go back to the player. Set it to default orange, right? So by default, it'll be orange. But in the script, I'm going to immediately replace it with green. So it should, got replaced with green, which is what we wanted. If I don't do that, orange. Oh, that's... Because actual mesh and actual animation player are, well, it doesn't matter that they're blank, right? Because what it should be doing is applying the current. Do these free. Replace it with the current. That was not visible. So, okay. I don't know why. It feels like that was really hard to figure out. I wanted to run into the spikes and see the animation. I'll just wait for the next one. Okay. I'm gonna run into spikes again for some. I don't know why. It just gives me peace of mind when I see it work 2 times in a row. Okay, good. So that works. Now we can have, like, I don't know, a globe or something. Who knows what we do. So actually, now I'm going to create a new... I'm going to create just the test because we have our little test mesh as well. This shouldn't ever really get called anymore. I don't even need to queue those free or try printing anything out for them. In fact, all of this doesn't need to happen anymore either. Apply the current nodes, and we're good. However, this animation player is now going to be its own thing, or this animation player is going to be connected with this one, which I don't want. So copy the dictionary, make this into a test. Right, we need to add one animation, new. Now we can load. Okay. Yeah, because right now it's turning it green. We don't want that. I think we want it to be white. Yeah. Just hoping that this isn't affecting this one somehow, but I don't think it is. Okay. So I want to see it work with a couple different things here. I want it to work with the test, and then I want it to work with the orange, and then I want it to work with the green. Just to make sure that all of this is working as expected. Queue free. Okay, so let's make sure that it actually exists before we do anything. Not sure why it's big though. It's like the opposite issue that we had before. scale is 0.75. It's to be 1. This should always be 1. Bigger, it seems. Hold on. This is much bigger. But no, it actually fits. This is fitting incorrectly. It's these meshes are too small. I don't get why they're too small, because the scale is 0.5. I don't remember setting the scale to these to be 0.5. I don't know how that keeps happening. But I wish it would just stay. Which means that this is just correct. So I don't get why it's so big. I need to understand this. I mean, that's deliberately setting it too small now. Because it doesn't matter. It always gets set back to scale of 1. And scale of 1, much smaller than the collision shape. Really? I just need to make the radius 0.25 then? Guess so. It's just weird that I didn't have to do that until now. I believe that's the correct size. Hard to even tell anymore. But I do actually think this is the correct size for the ball. Yeah, it is. I feel like I'm seeing smaller meshes play the death animation inside of it. And maybe that's why it looks wrong to me. There. I am. Why can I see those? Is it because I'm gonna turn everything on and turn off the skins. Could just be the visibility. Yes, okay. Now there's no double animation going on. Okay, so we haven't gotten through this without running into a new issue. So let's see default orange. Let's hope this works. Default orange. That's what we want. Run into spikes. Yes. And now, let's get default green. Now this should be green and not orange. It is. I think we've come up with a system to get multiple meshes on the ball. Now we can set these through code. Wow, I'm just surprised. That was like, I mean, it took yesterday and today to figure all of that out. Like, just to change a mesh and an animation, like that is a lot. Oh god, what's all this? Not sure what's happening here. Resolve track. I mean, I'm not really sure what that, like, it's happening when I save it. So is it saying that if I close it and reopen it, that it's not? Now I don't know why I'm testing it like that. because I'm going to lose everything. That's actually the case, but I'm really hoping it's not. But I feel like I figured it out, so if it actually isn't saving, then that's a huge problem. It looks like it is, though. Okay. So, these could be any mesh, with any amount of materials, with any textures. Good. Oh my gosh. So now we can what do we want to do? We want to make it so that you can buy. Oh my god. Why? Ugh, this is so annoying. I don't get why the shop keeps changing. It should stay the same at all times. Set the current ratio? Like, what's going on to cause that? I just hope that doesn't happen during gameplay, because then when the game is actually shipped, that could be just like some random error that happens. But, oh, another weird thing is these buttons don't have the disabled thing anymore. Like, they're not, the buttons don't have the disabled attribute to it. I don't remember changing that back, but I'm pretty sure this was gray. It grayed out. I don't know if maybe I just needed to save it or something. And now it happened again. What the heck? I'm not, like, I want it to stay in place. Like, I don't even know what to look up for this, though. That's the problem. What is actually expanding? Is it the whole control? It is. The entire control element is expanding. Whenever I change something in the editor. But I don't get how. So if I change this again, it'll just automatically... I don't know if I just make that smaller. That time it didn't happen, though. Oh, that's not what we want. No, it doesn't have a control parent. The appropriate layout property depending where you're going to put it. Pretty sure this one doesn't have it either. So this apparently doesn't have that layout issue. No, it does. Okay. Here's preset. I want to make sure that, you know what? I'm getting rid of that. No more expand. It will just do what it needs to do. Hopefully it just stays like that for now. But yeah, now we need to make it so that the shop items have their proper... I don't know. I need to make it so that you can buy different ones. Maybe I add a script to this. A item name. I mean, I don't technically need, I don't know, but I would like it for it to only be an integer in, okay. Godot export integer var. Int. Okay, it's just an int. Int. There we go. Cool. So export var item name, price. But it's not Boolean. It's just bool. Bool. Yes. Okay. I don't know these off the top of my head. They seem to be different for every language. And I'm going to need a way to store this in and load it. So this is actually the price label. It's the texture preview panel. That's another thing. We're going to need an image to set. Oh no, I didn't want to put it there. So right now this is basically just like a template, but I want to make it so that all I have to do is just add these shop items, fill out a couple fields, and that's all it takes. So price label. I feel like there has to be some sort of attribute that sets a button enabled or disabled. It's just disabled. Not just. I guess it just doesn't have the. Do I really need two buttons? Right? Because if you bought it once, then you're only ever going to want to use it. So maybe the buy button turns into a used button at some point instead? And maybe it changes the color? I don't know. Do I want it to just work, or do I want it to look nice immediately? I want it to just work for now. So if it's not bought, then we disable the use button. And we need to make it so that the preview panel. Now this is an interesting one because I don't actually know. Maybe I should just make this a sprite because I don't know how to actually access the, like, through code. I don't know how to change the theme. Yeah, I would have to get into theme overrides. Okay. That's making me think that we just make this a sprite 2D. If that looks correct. Where is it? Okay. That's the problem with the sprite 2D is it does not have a layout function. So, or it doesn't have like anchors and stuff. So I need to make it, I don't know. I need to make something. Maybe I just make another control. Maybe control. And maybe I just put it right where it was before. Get even bigger. 56. 4. Yeah. I mean that all of the textures need to be. See that maybe this is why I did want it to be a panel, because I don't want to have to like edit the image to always be 64. It'd be nice if it just happened automatically, but I don't know how to actually. This is. Okay, this is a minute 37. Hopefully it's not too painful.
Today we're going to be learning how to change a. You need a node with the texture that.
Yeah. I guess we're always going to have to use 64 by 64 images for this. That's a little annoying, but I will deal with it if it means I don't have to. I don't know. It's just going to be weird, right? Because I would have to get into theme overrides. I don't know how to get in there. Then I would have to get into styles. Then I would have to get into. Yeah, no. Not going to happen. So put the icon in here. It is 128. Now, something that's concerning is that I put it inside of this control element to try to anchor it, and it's not working at all. So this doesn't obey, I guess. I'm gonna open up my other game and see what I did. Because it's essentially the same exact shop, it's just, it is going to be different code-wise and layout-wise. Or not even layout-wise, just... I want to see, what did I do to get, like... Like, how did I get this to be there? It is just a texture. Maybe it doesn't need a layout. Maybe I just drag and drop it. I don't know what that's editing. Is that editing the scale? The transform? What's allowing this to be bigger and smaller? 'Cause it's not this size. Oh wait, it doesn't seem like the right node was being shown. It's just the scale. If I make this 0.5, oops. Okay. So I could just make it use 128 by 128 images as textures that we want. I need to somehow take a picture of the ball with the applied texture. Get it to work. Which requires me to take render pictures of these textures within Blender. I have to make sure it's the same. Okay. It's going to be maybe a little confusing to do this, but I guess I'll add the images later. I just want to see that it works for now. So, shop, we have shop item. Default. Alt green. I just want to be able to choose back and forth. Looks like they don't have property. Oh, well, actually, maybe it's because the code isn't right. Back. Now this. It's really just a preview sprite now. But I want to figure out how to edit this texture. I guess it requires loading in resource. Maybe that's it. Okay, now I can set this. Going to, oh wait, load, just going to be the preview image. I want to make the preview image compressed texture 2D. Okay, maybe this needs to be a texture 2D. That would make sense actually, because we're just replacing a texture. So put in something random like that. There, we have a star and a wavy thing. Call this default orange. Make it 50. Default green. Make this 100. See if that works. Okay, it does. These images are just really big, but that's fine. They'll have to be 128 at some point. Oh, I need to make it so that this is really concerning that it doesn't seem to be saving, but I think it is. Add a script to the shop now, I believe, because we need to somehow save what the player does. And we also need to check how many coins the player has. We also need to show how many coins the player has. There's nowhere to see it. So gonna be very similar to the Tilty shop as well. But I'm going to have a coin counter up here. So let's do a panel. Top middle. Actually, I might want to copy and paste in a label from somewhere else. This coin label should do. Say we have 100 coins. Oh, there we go. So it's anchored to that. That's I don't think I've been taking advantage of the ability to do that, but I will from now on. Enable center on the right. Oh, look at that. Even better. Automatically expand if needed. I don't think anyone's getting over 10,000 for a bit, so I think we should be good with this. But I kind of like when it's that vaguely in the middle. Quite big. So realizing that the white text doesn't really mesh well with. There we go. That stands out a lot more. Let's give this a little more saturation though. That's fine. I like that. But yeah, now we can actually see the amount of coins that we have. And with that, I should definitely probably add a script for the shop. I don't know if I should add it to this control element for the shop, because if I add it to the shop, then I can just call it shop.gd. That would be nice to have. guess I will. It's just everything is going to be inside of this control. So it'll just be annoying seeing control everywhere, but it's fine. Because I would rather make shop.gd than anything. Maybe I just attach it to the other one. Maybe I call this shop.gd and I just attach it to the control anyways. So this needs to extend control. Actually, we might want to reference the main script at some point. This is kind of our global script. Where did that go? There we go. Does that work? It does. Okay. So when we're first open it up, we're going to want to show how many coins we have. Update tables. We even need to, because shop coin label dot text equals str main dot coins, and make sure we load them before we do anything. If this works, that'll be great. Doesn't. Okay. Where is it getting this from? It's almost like it's just instantiating a new... I definitely did load. But maybe we don't need to do that. Maybe we just do main.load coins and this gives us what we want. Darn. I don't know. That's really starting to drive me absolutely nuts. The fact that this gets expanded at random. Like, I just changed a script. I didn't change anything in the layout. But that does give us what we want, so... Okay. Let's hope that doesn't happen during gameplay. I mean, even this, like, this gets put in a random spot every time. It doesn't matter, because it only ever shows up. Need to set in the animation the fact that these anchors exist? I don't know. now the shop item is going to need some... So we need, when that buy button is clicked, that means that we need a signal, but we need to signal the shop. We don't want to signal within this. And we need to save all of this information. So we need to save it somewhere. Not sure how yet. Hmm. I've done this before for Tiltiminos, but this one I would rather do it better this time. And I need to save a file that just contains all of this information for every shop item, and not sure what needs to get saved. And I'm not sure how to go about saving it. Need a file. I guess, I mean, what I did last time was I saved the dictionary that had all of the... Feels like a tough one. I guess I'll go back to the shop. The shop's going to be the everything here. Everything here can just be aesthetic, I guess. It doesn't need to be functional, really. But the shop definitely needs... So we need to have a function for loading the data and saving it. So how do we want to go about saving this? How do we want to go about getting all of it in the first place? So the shop... Shop has a scroll docs container that actually contains all this, the shop items itself. So we want to show the coins, but then we also want to... And we have to make sure that if it's the first time that we save default data instead. So, like, when I load the high score, if it doesn't exist, then I just set it to 0. Start with a load. Shop data. File as text. Oh no. I'm gonna look at what I did for Tiltiminos because I just have been able to do this before. Okay. Mainly it was this JSON part. I needed to hoping to do it in a less confusing way because, I mean, this is pretty big for a simple shop. But I'm sure I'll probably have something very similar. If not, just return empty string, I suppose. Save shop data. Do shop data. Get an empty string. Load shop data. If it's the first time, then we need to set everything to bought equaling false, or whatever it is by default. Except for the default, of course, which maybe I need to make another skin to test. I guess default orange will already be bought and already be used. Just by default. So when you first open the game, it'll be like that. World shop. We need to loop through all the children in shop items. I'm gonna make it equal to empty dictionary. Item name. I'm gonna set that to a dictionary of bought is child.bought and used is child.used. Okay, so not declared. Wonder why. Identifier bought it, this one? Or is it the dictionary that it doesn't like? Do I, whoops, I'm very silly. I'm pretty sure these need to be strings. There we go. Okay. So if the shop data has not yet been saved, then we load in whatever is by default on these entries or items. And then we'll save it. We'll save shop data. And saving the shop data will just entail, where do I save? This is where I save a high score, so same thing in the shop, except saving high score. We'll save the shop data. Stringify shop data. Okay, so we can save and load our shop data. We're going to need a function to update all of the labels, I suppose, because if the shop data is different than what's in the default, we need to make sure that we set it. So update items. Maybe I call it update item display. So, I guess the question now is, does the name of the node correspond to the name of the item name? Probably should, right? Go back. Name equals item name. I don't know. We have a name and an item name, but it should be the same. I don't understand. How is it getting changed? Please stop. Always be there. What is it? It's getting set to 1200? It should never be bigger than that. Is there a maximum size? I don't care if it's taller. I just don't want it to be bigger than 600. I'm gonna make it so that when it opens it up, the width will always... I'm just setting it in code. I forget what it's actually called though. Like, how do you actually get the size? It's transform size? Just size? Okay, so I'm just gonna set size.x equals 600. I think that should work. Out of dictionary string. Okay. Then let's return an empty dictionary. Now it should always be set. I have no idea what changes it, but just leave it the same. That's all we care about. Alright, now we need to update the item display. And I need to figure out where this file is getting stored so I can start looking at it and making sure it's correct. Godot, where user files stored. I've looked at this so many times, I always forget. App data. Okay. Bling ball. We got shop data. I wonder if VS Code has an extension to just automatically format JSON. That would be nice. On format. Got 1 million downloads. Trust it? Nope. Control Alt M. Maybe it needs to be set as JSON. Control Alt N. I don't know. On a quick thing. Control A, Control K, F. Control A, K, F. I didn't even need this. I'm gonna uninstall it. Control AKF. AKF. Default green bought. Oh, the item name and the node name are going to be different because one has a space and one doesn't. Oh no. Okay. Okay. Never mind. Name do not equal that. Wonder if that's gonna break anything. Start the game. Go to the remote and see our shop here. Default orange and default green. Well, that's just what I named them, so that makes sense. Though it does mean that in the shop, I don't think we need to update the price. Shop data, child item name. No, we're gonna do child.name. Look at this again. I have to reopen it every time. Ah, it hasn't gotten updated. Right, because I guess it's only going to save the first time. So I'm actually just going to delete it. Update is back. Huh. And it's putting spaces in it. And I just don't know why. And actually, it's not even saving the item name either. So that's really weird. Did I not save the script? I mean, when I run it, it should automatically save. So, but I'm just gonna Control S it, see if that fixes anything. No. Okay. So. I'm not gonna delete the file. I'm just gonna write it with blank. Oh shoot, this is the wrong game. Not the shop for that to work either. Shop data is still blank. I'm gonna run through this and see. So loading shop data, it shouldn't exist. Shop data does not exist. Let me just make sure that shop data does not exist. Because since it doesn't, it should set this. Object null. Data. F. A K F. Not sure why it doesn't work now. Is there a way to just format? Do I have to make this JSON for it to work? I do. Bought, item name, used. think this is how we want to store it. And yeah, the default orange is shown. So that means that we can update the item display, which is what we want. Good. For, oh gosh, looping through dictionaries is, I think, key in. I believe this is what we do. So the key is really the item name. Now we do shop items, get node, key. Shop item dot bought equals shop data bought. Do the same thing with used. Then we're going to do shop item dot update, or I forget what I called it. It's, I guess, just draw labels. Even though we're drawing them again, it makes sense because we're going, and actually, that means I don't really need to do it on ready, but it's getting called twice is all. File store string, JSON stringify. Sorry, shop item draw labels. That should set it to what we actually want it to be. See if it. Oh, I don't think I ever call it either. Update item display. Okay. Item display gets called. Interesting that this happens. This is. So we want to disable the used button if it's used, or if it's not bought. So, yeah. But I guess I forgot to put the same button styles on shop, so let's fix that now. Watch me go back and the shop expanded once again. It has so many times. What? Oh, that is so confusing. But I guess I don't have to worry about it anymore because I fix it in the code. I literally could not tell you. Actually, I need to go to the actual shop item. So I need to match this. Which it definitely doesn't. So the first one needs to be button trace, button.tres. Disabled. Button again? Yeah. Okay. That should fix the weird formatting. Yep. And another thing is it doesn't have a disabled color. So let's grab one. I wonder if the buttons, I don't know. This time I'm actually using the styles a little bit, but it's still weird to me. I don't think I'm using them correctly. I also need to set the focus mode to not. Well, that's another thing. I need to set the focus mode based on whether disabled. So maybe I go in here. And there are different focus modes, I believe. So there it is. Okay. Focus mode. All click or none. Let's do. Else. Oh, we want that to be none, that to be click. Thing for the use button. That's interesting. So it doesn't understand none. Figure out how to change the focus mode on a button. There is no focus mode. Base button, perhaps? Do override. Okay. Okay. Cool. I think that should do it. Cool, I think it did. So the shop button doesn't work after you click it once. How did I fix that issue? Do with the fact the stupid shop is expanding in size. Because I bet if I fix this for some reason, it'll fix that shop button issue. Where we open, close, open, I don't know, click around. Okay, so fixing it with code doesn't actually fix the problem. I need that to just stop happening. I'm gonna look it up too, because Control. Like, I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. I just really wish I could figure it out because I have no idea what to look up for this. I don't know what type of issue it is. It's just so weird and it's so annoying and it's causing bugs. Correct. It should layout direction. No. It just happens at random. Still getting 60 FPS. Okay. So I guess now what I want to do is change this to false. See if those buttons actually reflect the change. They do. Nice. So changing what's in this actually changes. Changing what's in the save file changes the actual game, which is correct, which is what we want. I haven't made a lot of progress on this so far, and yet it's almost been 2 hours. Oh gosh. Well, let's go back to the script. Let's see, what do we need to do now? We need to be able to buy and use these. Okay. Oh my gosh. So here's the crazy thing, right? Buying is going to be simple. It just allows us to use the skin. Using the skin, when we click that use button, it's going to have to change the current mesh and current animation player and then apply it. So all of this is going to get tied together now at some point. So let us get functions for buying and selling. Func buy pressed. Now I can't just create signals from these nodes here, so I have to actually connect the buttons for them. So update the item display, connect buttons to. Now, something you might have noticed so far is everything is one scene, essentially. I had a huge problem with my previous game where actually properly changing the scene works on desktop, but it breaks on Android. So that's something that I should have tested before starting this again. But I didn't, and I think I can make this game with just, hiding and showing elements. I don't think it's that complicated. But it is not a good philosophy of design to follow at all. And whenever I make a more complicated game, I would like to be able to create and destroy scenes in Android. Hopefully that's just an issue that, I don't know, maybe I did something wrong in the previous game that's causing that. But we'll see. So we are connecting, right. We're connecting the buttons to functions from the shop items. Let's loop through them again. Really, I could just call it a shop item. Doesn't need to be a child. So now I need to get the buy and use button. Bar. Pretty sure I just call it buy button and use button. Now I can do buy button on, I don't remember what it's called, so I'm just gonna go here, look at what it is. Button down. It's just button down. So now we do button down dot connect with buy button pressed. Problem, I need to pass in shop item when that happens, so I can have all of the attributes. Hopefully I can just do this. I don't know if I can though. That's the only problem. I think there's a special way of doing it through code that is not going to play nice with. Print the item to make sure it gets passed in correctly. One day I hope to be good enough that, oh no, oops, not use item. One day I want to be good enough that I don't need to test this out. Okay, yeah. I would love to be able to understand how to use these these connectors. Connect signal with extra parameter. Extra arguments. Or callable. Extra arguments. Okay. So it needs a bind. Extra and arguments. So method name dot bind. Dot bind. Now it's in an array, but maybe because it's only one argument, I don't need it to be an array. Hey, cool, it's working. I'm gonna set bot to false on this again. Oops, hit F5 on it. And I'm gonna see if in the console buy. Nice. Okay. So it's just dot bind. I needed to do dot bind. Here. I'm pretty sure now I can do like shop item dot price. Let's do item name shop item dot price. That's what we really need here. Yes, good. Okay, so now I can actually make it so that we will have to spend money to buy the skins. So if we press the buy button, and the best part is, since these buttons are disabled, I don't need to like check if it's already bought or anything because, or like for the use button, I don't need to check if it's already bought because this button will only be enabled if it's already bought. Love it. So buy button press. So we're gonna need a separate coins counter. So coins equals, we're gonna load it from the main. And let me see if saving it. It's gonna set a default parameter, that way you can, hopefully that is proper syntax, but if I want to pass in variable, I should be able to do that. So string coins. Ah, I should really do this. The item display. Coins will get loaded in here, where I just move that code. Buy. I don't really need that. Item display. We also need to save the shop data. Save shop data. I think that should work. Maybe, I don't know. Just throwing things in and seeing what happens. So it did set the button there, but it didn't change the coin amount at all. So that means that passing in save coin function doesn't actually, or am I not saving the coins anywhere? Nope, I am not set. That would explain why. Save coins and pass in the amount that we want to save. Coins. Update item display. Should work now. Let's go. Now these use buttons don't do anything yet because I haven't added any code to them. Let's do that now. This isn't the buy button, this is the use button. And the use button is actually going to have to make it so that everything that is used, or it's going to have to do multiple things. It's going to set the shop data used to true. That is simple. It's going to set everything else to false. So could very simply loop through and set everything to false. Shop data. Whichever thing was used needs to get set to false. So, for shopping. Save shop data. Oops. Shop data. Item display. I think that should do it. At least in the shop, it won't change the ball yet. Yep. Now we need to make it so that this actually changes the player. So we have an onReady var main. Let's now get an insane reference to the player. Now this is where renaming the nodes is going to absolutely kill me if I do it. Or changing where they are. But hopefully, you know, if I do, I'll remember where all the places are that I need to change it. Now here is an interesting thing, right? How is it going to, how are we associating this to the player? Should the shop items contain... Because, right, what we need to do is... The shop item represents what we're choosing. But the player is the one that has all of the skins. And it's actually kind of annoying to test. I think we have to store all of these inside of shop item. And we'll replace... Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. I kind of like this better anyways, because I didn't like storing it all on the player. It felt weird. So we'll do that. And now on the shop item itself, the world, I feel like I should almost like, I don't know, save all the shop items in a different scene, just so it's not all within the world scene. But I guess it doesn't really matter. But yeah, look, now here's the mesh and the animation player. Actually, I don't even need those to be exports. They just need to be part of the... They just need to be nodes inside of it, I think. Yeah, they don't even need to be variables. I'm just gonna drag and drop them in. And then whatever... Well, I can still have it, because that way. Um, okay, whatever. I think, sorry, they do need to be exports. Because I need to set them on each thing individually. Go to the world. Default orange is going to have this is they do all need to get stored somewhere then, right? Because where's the mesh getting saved? Do I save? Like, can I save this node? Maybe, maybe everything has to get saved in the player and the shop item? Just thinking of how to implement this. Shop item. These. Or like, do I take these, copy, like, let's get this orange, then do I just do this? And then what happens if I delete them? Still have it? No, it doesn't. So maybe that's what I do? I copy and paste these mesh instances. There. And then I just assign it like that. I mean, if it works, it works. Go. There we go. And then when you hit use, we do layer dot current mesh equals shop item dot mesh layer should be exactly the same. Okay. This would be a miracle. So it should be green. Now it should be orange. Wow, look at that! Yay! The shop is open with 2 test skins. Very ugly ones, but theoretically, Did that just change? Did I just... I don't know. I think I'm imagining something. Oh, you know what? When I first open the shop, it doesn't update the labels. That's why. I should make it so that the shop gets updated labels every time it shows up, right? That would make sense. That means every time the shop button is pressed, which is here, I need to add it to this. Connect. And we'll update the item display there as well. That way when I collect coins, it'll get reflected in the shop immediately. So that's 3 more coins. Open up the shop. Buy shop. Yes, good. Alt on. Well, now the question is, I mean, now it's green. What is it when I first open it up? And then what is it? So it's green by default. Then I go to orange. Then I go to green. What if the player was... I don't care what it is on the actual node. I care what it is in this. So let's set this used to true and this used to false. So it should start as orange, and it doesn't. That means that when this is first created, or when the shop is first created, we need to load in the right... We need to update the player the correct... Maybe I make a function for that. Func update player nodes. I don't know, because I need the... Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through the shop items. We're doing a lot of loops, but it's okay. I don't think there'll be more than 100 skins. That would be amazing if there were 100. Key shop data. Keys. Data. Used. Then we do get node key. That should do it. Right, we need to call the function. Update player nodes. Now we're orange. Now it should just be directly based on this. Now it should start as green, just based on the save data. Nice. We're gonna have to do the same thing with the trails at some point. Let me make sure everything is not... Actually, nothing should be visible because we already fixed that issue. Yeah. Or, like, when you explode before all the meshes were exploding at the same time and they were inside of each other. You know, I was originally just doing these for myself, but man, if there was like some like crazy dedicated person who is actually watching these. Like, I'm mainly doing this so that I don't know. I could go on Discord at any time or something, you know, or I could just instantly pull up a YouTube video to start watching YouTube. So, but if I'm recording myself and this is a whole big thing, then you'll see me do that. So I don't want to do that. I'm in straight up game dev mode right now. And I'm just throwing it on YouTube to prove it. But if someone actually is watching this and knows, like, I mean, you wouldn't have gotten to see me set up this node for the first time. But it's not that much. It's just this. I'm just trying to. Maybe I need a. Maybe that's it. Maybe it just needs to be. But why is it growing? That's the question. And I think that if I do this, then, you know, if the shop gets bigger. Oops. Not gonna expand. Yeah, no. Ugh. Needs to be the full rect. Maybe it needs to be V center wide. I said, you know what? I don't understand why what was happening before was happening, but that simply cannot fail. That simply cannot fail. What I've just done, center wide, like, that's got to be stable. But yeah, if someone was actually watching this and like understands, I would love to know. I doubt anyone will. But if it is, I don't know what I could possibly give you in return besides just an enormous thank you. But like that's going to haunt my dreams. Is the thing that expanding rect despite it's supposed to only be stretching. Gosh. But this is good. This is good progress. I mean, I don't have any skins or any like special things besides this one mesh that I made as a test. But the shop is open. I am very happy about that. I might get lunch soon, so maybe I just. Oh, okay, I was thinking, I was watching the ball. It's like, maybe I'll make this my last run for the session, and then I immediately die. So, want. Well, thank you for watching. If you have, I will catch you in the next devlog.